What is going on, everyone? My name is Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology, the Titans action, or should I say the tutorial action. Today, we are going to be going over the god Hades. Why? He has recently been crowned S+ tier on certain someone's tier list recently. We're going to go into a very, very safe build for low-level players to sink their teeth into. And part of this is going to be that even if you make slight errors in the build or slight inefficiencies with gather time, you should still be able to relatively follow this build and get everything out that you need to. If you want to get the hyper-efficient builds, I'll leave a link below. I did a every Greek build order you need before that. You can use that one if you want those hyper efficient builds, but this one's for the lower level players. Without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, first things first, we're going to be jumping straight onto the food line over here, and we're only going to be putting 3 villagers there for the time being. Immediately, you're going to be getting yourself hunting dogs. Vitally important to get hunting dogs straight away. Next part of this build is we're going to be putting only 2 villagers on wood here, and we're going to come over and we're going to put 2 villagers onto gold as well. Now, we did have a slight error here in our giraffe kill spot here, so that's completely fine. Don't worry so much about this. Just make sure you really do want your giraffe to be right next to the granary like this one would be. If we killed this right in this spot, we'd be very, very happy. The next part about this is we're going to be moving up to a second hunt here with these next villagers. These next villagers come all the way over here. And yes, you did notice there is a spot here. It is closer to our home base, but we're going to be using that a little bit later. This is the perfect sort of map here for Hades to get a serious advantage cooking on this map. So we come over, we're going to grab this food over here. We're also going to be building a house with one of those gold villagers here. And at any point at this time, you can actually do that and you can put it back. So long as you do it before that population hits 14, you're golden. So it's nice that you can do it at any point after this granary goes down. You're good to go. All right, we see the next giraffe gets killed all by itself. Happy days, didn't have to manage that in the slightest. And we're going to put maybe one more villager here onto food here, and then we're going to chuck ourselves that temple up again with the gold villager here. Next part is we're going to start dropping villagers over onto wood, and you'll notice that as this game goes on, our food with 9 villagers on food is slowly going to increase such that we should be able to advance to the classical age, excuse me. We should be able to advance to the classical age really, really fast. We're going to be going for 6 villagers on the wood here, and then we're going to chuck some villagers over onto the gold. Now, this isn't really that important, whether you hit perfectly on 2 favor or not. So don't worry about it. But once you hit 2 favor on the temple, this is what you're going to be looking at. You're going to start putting villagers over onto gold, and once you see 2 favor on that villager here, you're going to be pulling him over onto the gold mine here. Now, I want to pause here and say, if you wanted to, you could have force dropped and you could have advanced for 330, and it would have been totally fine. But with this build, we're going to be taking into account that certain problems occur. We're aiming for a very, very respectable 445 advance time here. And you'll notice that we don't even need to force drop or anything. All those resources come in nicely. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to go through Ares. There is a reason for this Ares play, and we're going to go through Ares. We're going to send all these gold villages over, all these food villages, excuse me, over onto over onto the gold mine here to get ourselves the gold we need to get ourselves the second town center. We also do need to throw ourselves a house here. So this is very important. We're going to take one of the wood villages and drop a house. The next thing we're going to be thinking about is, okay, why did we go pestilence? Well, we went pestilence so that we could buy ourselves some time against our opponent here. We're not doing it for any other real reason. So what we're going to do is we're going to be grabbing our villages once we hit 100 or 350 gold or anything above that. Doesn't really matter. We're going to do that. We're going to come over here. We're going to get ourselves Ajax. We're going to drop our town center down. We're going to get ourselves Chiron. We're going to be looking for the main base to drop pestilence down, and we're just going to run away with that scout and live the dream where that's concerned. And our villagers just simply need to move over. Probably the safest place for now, whenever you go for a second town center, is just to come back into the main base. Now, we're getting our second town center. We send our heroes over here to defend that, make sure that that's where they were headed. And we should be well and truly on the way here. So the next thing is, this build, we're going to drop an archery range. This build I'm showing you here is a very, very defensive orientated Hades. So why is Hades strong right now? Well, it's because his late game is the strongest. This is not necessarily best in slot Hades. This is simple Hades where things will not go wrong for you no matter what. It's autopilot Hades. It's simple Hades. We're trying to make this game very easy for the lower level players out there to have some success in their gameplay. So we're going to drop this archery range. We're going to pop some villagers over onto wood, and then we're going to have to start grabbing this hunt over here. And one thing you'll notice is that we've got a very healthy amount of villagers on food with 11 villagers on food. And the only thing we're going to be wanting to spend here is wood and gold. So we've actually got, funnily enough, the wood that we need with 9 villages. This is a really important number. With 9 villages on wood, you actually have plenty of income to support 2 archery ranges worth of production. So you don't have to think about much more wood than 9 villages. Maybe going to 10 is a little bit safer because you're also going to be able to have to worry about getting yourself some houses here. So that can be something to think about there. So we're going to be popping this villager over onto wood here, starting the Toxote production off of these 2 archery ranges, and we're going to start dropping houses with one of these food villages here because we really don't need that much food income anymore. So on this town center over here, we're going to drop another storehouse, and we're going to get going here. As you can see, our resources are quite low, and that is perfect. And we just keep pumping everything out, get ourselves the storehouse over here. And we are good to go. Need to keep making sure our houses get dropped, and we're going to do that right away. Make sure our villagers keep coming out of these town centers is a really big thing. And now we've got enough gold villages here to be completely happy, safe, free. And now that we've got the villages on wood and on gold, the next step here is we've got our second town center. You might have had to put a sentinels up, don't know, but put the sentinels up over here. Potentially you might want to get watchtowers before you start Toxote production. But now that we've got 7 villages on gold, the next step, and we're also pumping villages onto wood, the next step is going to be to start throwing walls down. So we're going to just start sending villagers over to the corner of the map here and walling up. This is really, really useful way to play, and you're going to be able to get a lot of advantage over your opponent if you do this. So next thing here, we're going to be having to jump onto herdables. If you ever jump onto herdables, it's really important to get husbandry. This is a huge upgrade, so we're getting husbandry. We've got enough villages on gold now to support quite a bit of wall building. So we're going to continue to throw these walls down and keep taking villagers over there. We've hit a little bit of a housing crisis, but again, it's not that big of a deal so long as you recognize, throw the house down, and then you just keep throwing houses down. Once you've got the resources, you can kind of just make this happen immediately. You can see I'm trying to build like a house wall here as well. And this wall is done, so we're going to come over here and build a wall over here, build a wall over here, and you're good to go. And as you can see, the food, the gold is slowly starting to pick up. Time to get our economic upgrades. Hand axe, pickaxe. When things start floating, we want to spend the resources as fast as we possibly can. More villagers coming onto wood. Why are we getting more villagers on wood right now, you might think? Well, the wood's starting to float. What's the problem with the wood floating? There isn't one, because once this food has run out, we're going to need to spend that wood on farms, because farms are very, very important moving along in this game. So we finish these walls. We come over here. We build some more walls. We do need to keep getting these houses. Apparently, I decided to stop building houses for whichever reason. So let's keep building ourselves the houses here. And now we can think about, well, may as well get plow here as the units are coming through. We've got all these toxotes, feeling very, very nice and good and happy. And here's one little trick. Well, we can build an armory off in the corner here. It doesn't really matter where that goes down. But here's one little trick. Once you get close to, or even at 110 population, you don't really need to produce more. You don't really need to produce more military units. You want that remaining population to be filled up with either tech or farms or villages. So we're going to start getting ourselves our farms in here. I'm going to throw these down as nicely as I can. We get our armory up, we get our farms down, happy days, and we're going to be able to click up to the next age here, and you can see more farms are going to be able to come down, happy days. And at these points here, we do want to keep getting our farms up and everything like this. We need to, basically here, you have to start thinking about, all right, we've walled off all this corner over here. Fantastic. But where's the real lose conditions? You need to make sure we somehow get this gold mine, because this gold mine is about to expire. But lucky for you, you're going to have Aphrodite here to push out and get this gold. This is going to be your next port of call. This gold mine and this town center here. If we can secure both of those, we secure a position that if we hold it, technically speaking, and we don't play badly, we do win the game. So your main goal here while advancing to the next age is going to be to put a bunch of villages over onto favor so that we get our 10 favor for a fortress, and also to start throwing down some other buildings, because you're going to notice we've only got ourselves archers here, which may not be the best idea. And given that we've only built archers, chances are our opponent is going to have built a bunch of cavalry. So building yourself military academies here makes a lot of sense to move forward. Once these pigs finish off, we're going to build our farms, but it's not that necessary right now. I'm actually going to show you a trick with these farm villages that might help you very much in the near future. So we'll keep an eye on that for when that happens. And now we can start getting ourselves upgrades, 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 getting ourselves all of these upgrades here. Maybe not that one that we got there. So we're going to get rid of this one. We'll take that back. We're going to get that a little bit later. We're going to drop ourselves the fortress over here. And now let's cut this here, and I'll show you this trick. So if we hold shift here and we don't do anything, these villages are going to take forever to build these farms. But if I click onto one of the farms here, all these villages run over to the farm that they need to be gathering from. So it's a really nice trick. If you've got one farm set up, you can do the shift click and then right click method for a very, very fast farm building exercise. I don't believe it's as fast as potentially manually doing it one by one by spacebar farming, but if you don't have that kind of thing down, I would recommend giving it a go. So you can just get all your upgrades here. Now you've got your farms set up. 21 villages on farms is plenty. You're going to throw a market down. You might want to get some more villages over onto the gold here as well. We said we wanted to secure ourselves that town center over here. We've got this position now to defend ourselves, get our heroes out. We've got ourselves these barracks going nicely so we can move in and try and grab this town center and move in. We also want to make sure that we've walled off our gold here. All these things are really, really important. This villager here needs to be less silly. And we're just going to take these villages that are on the favor here, move them up, grab that town center. And at this point in this video, after you've managed to get yourself this town center, I would say all you got to do is follow some RTS fundamentals. Make sure that you're not going to lose, and you should be able to find wins. So spending resources, keeping your resources really low. You can see that my food's quite high here. That's because we want to start making trade caravans, and you can make them into that home town center from the corner if you like, and then fix up your trade route later, or you could have sent the market over there first. We can also do this trick here and get to the mythic age here through Hephaestus. We haven't actually managed to get to full population in villages. A bit of a blunder on our part. Probably should have we do also need to make sure we get the favor here for an upgrade, but what we should have probably done is built maybe a couple of less units here, and that'll get our villagers out relatively quickly. So keep getting your upgrades. And I think what we do is we finish here. That's a build for Hades that is really, really solid, really, really defensive. You just sit back, you'll let your opponent attack you. Your Toxotes sit there and take it underneath Town Center Fire, underneath the Sentinels here. You get your walls set up to get some map control and some defensive gameplay. And you're going to try and make sure that you secure a second gold mine, you secure a town center, you start a trade route. All of this stuff, if you can successfully do it, will net you wins up until a certain level of Age of Mythology. And this is going to be a great strategy for low-level players to start out with when trying out the new S-tier god Hades. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.